Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode, the first episode of Talking Dolphins with Bobby Finstock here on the new FTSN Extra channel as we expand and grow FTSN. I thought I'd go ahead and do the honors of the first episode on the new channel. We'll try to do this every once in a while when I can, if I can. Obviously, today is Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day as we honor and remember those who sacrificed to give us our freedom here in the US of A. But I'm very excited to be here. To start this new venture. Just doing what I do best, or what I love to do best, is talk Dolphins and do stuff on FTSN. So as we continue to grow and go along with the show, guys, just talking about FTSN Extra and why I did this. First off, why I started this channel to expand Finstock Sports Network is because we're growing. We got new people joining the show, joining the team. We've got Q of the I Hate Football podcast. He's joining the family. He'll be doing. We're talking about starting the college football show on Friday nights with Russ Morgan. I'm very excited about that. We got, of course, Finstanza with overtime. We'll be bringing overtime over to FTSN Extra. We got Doll's Diaries on Wednesday nights. We got the fantasy football show, Fantasy Now Plus. Those guys are killing it. And of course, all the other, stuff we got going. Wrestling, we got Real Talk Wrestling that's going to be on FTSN Extra as well. I'm also, and it's not just sports. We're also going to do some entertainment stuff. I'm talking with Josh Kimmel. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff, maybe some histories, mysteries, some paranormal, some different things like that I'm very excited about doing on this channel. And of course, still going strong on FTSN, our OG channel, our main channel as well. And your favorite shows will be on there going forward. Let me go ahead and welcome, of course, the Back It Up Bench podcast. I appreciate you, brother, coming on here. Utah Fins fan, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all those who are tuning in wherever you're watching. If you do me a favor, if you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, if you're watching on our social media channels, Twitter, wherever, hop on over here to FTSN Extra and come on over, hit that like and subscribe button as we move forward. I wanted to come on here, I don't know for how long, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, talking about the Dolphins. It is only May, but we are just around the corner from preseason. We're about 4 months away from the start of the regular season. We've already kind of seen the schedule and broken down the schedule. I know with Fish Tank Hank and I on Fins Talk today on FTSN, discussed the schedule in length and how we feel the season may play out. It was a way too early schedule prediction because we don't know how the final roster is going to look like. As we get closer toward the season, right now, just looking at how the roster is, there's still a lot of work to be done. Miami has made some improvements, in my opinion, with the offensive line. We still got that question mark at left tackle with Patrick Paul, who they drafted in the second round. But I love what I'm hearing from the coaches and from Terran Armstead and everything about Patrick Paul. I mean, they're singing his graces. And so I'm just hoping that sitting behind one of the best tackles in football and Tarn Armstead rubs off on Patrick Paul, and he's ready to go start of the season and throughout his career, and maybe we hit a gem. And then at left guard, second round offensive guard, Jonah Savanea out of Arizona. I love this kid. I can't speak any more highly of him. He was my top offensive guard in the draft. I'm not ashamed to say. I'm not just saying that. If you are following on FTSN with the On the Clock Miami Dolphins draft show, you would know that's something that's someone that I've been praising and hyping about, and I was so excited that Miami moved up to go get him. I understand a lot of Dolphin fans were put off by trading up. I get it because you're losing a pick, and you wanted to hold on to that pick. But I think that by mid-season, especially by the end of the season, Dolphin fans are going to be like, "Man, I'm so freaking happy we traded up and go get that kid." Aaron Brewer, he did really well last year. I didn't like moving on from Connor Williams, but I was very happy with Aaron Brewer, and I'm excited about what he could do in his second year in this offense with Miami and his versatility on this offense that you could, and that's the same thing across the offensive line. 7A is the same way. You could move him from left guard to right guard to tackle. Brewer, you can move the guard and to center. Then you go with, of course, at right guard, our big free agent signing was James Daniels, a veteran player who was injured last year. We hope that he comes off that injury better than what, to respond well coming off that injury. But before that injury, he was a dang good guard. So, Miami, did the work. And of course, we're getting Austin Jackson back. It's the main thing about this offensive line, of course, it's the depth. Because one of these guys eventually will go down. It's just the way of the game. That's the way it goes. How will those back end pieces respond for the Miami Dolphins offensive line? I feel better about the offensive line. The position I feel most concerned with, obviously, is the secondary. I've made that known before. The secondary is something that bothers me with Miami. I think that, even before Jalen Ramsey's trade request or the reveal that they will eventually move on from Jalen Ramsey, I was already concerned with that. I was concerned enough to say that when we started doing the mock drafts, that I was like, hey man, Miami needs to go and get a corner. I don't care who's back there. If it was still Jalen Ramsey, you got to go get another corner. And of course, I was hyping on the kid out of Texas, Jahdae Barron, which Miami eventually did not go that route, and they got Kenneth Grant, which again, they beefed up that defensive line. I mean, a lot of people were questioning what Miami was going to do after Calais Campbell decided to go to Arizona and finish off his career, which all power to him. And he did great with Miami. He was an awesome veteran. We would have all loved to have him back because he's a leader in that locker room. And he was a damn good football player when he was on that field. No matter how old he is, he's still performing at a high end level. Losing him was a huge hit for the Dolphins, but Miami turns around, gets Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Then they go get Jordan Phillips, and then Zeke Biggers, to pair up with Zach Sealer, who quietly has become one of the better defensive tackles in football. So looking at that D-line, you're like, damn, it's exciting to see for Miami, which might help the weakness in the secondary in the end, and then you look at the edge rushers. A lot of people aren't talking about, we still talk about Jalen Phillips, and we know he's putting that work in, and we know what he can do when he's on the field, how important he is to the team when he is on the field. You put in Chop Robinson going in his second year, who had a very good rookie year. People aren't talking enough about Bradley Chubb. They always want to talk about, I would never have done that trade. It's one of the worst trades. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. It was the deal, of course, the draft picks that we gave up kind of sucked, but in the end, I think he's performed really well. When he's on the field, he's one of the better players. A lot of people aren't talking about that. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with how Miami does on that defensive line, on defense in regards of that front end. Linebackers, we'll see how that plays out. But the secondary is my biggest concern. The safeties, can they stay healthy? Could they make an impact? Malifonwu was a good signing out of Detroit. I'm interested to see how he does. I'm not sold on Ashton Davis right now. We'll see how he plays out. Don't sleep on him, but not sold on him yet. The rookies, the kid out of Maryland, excited to see how we got at him. A lot of people are still saying, hey, can we go get Justice Simmons? So we got to focus on the cornerback room. That's what Miami needs to do. We don't know what we have in Cam Smith. He has not shown anything in the last 2 years. The first season we were talking about, it's Vic Fangio's fault. We don't know that. Now we know, we all wanted to believe that and hope that Cam Smith was going to be something the year after. But the year after, now last year, he was MIA. So we have to hope that, especially with the trade of Jalen Ramsey eventually, that Cam Smith can step into that role and show out, and of course, Jason Marshall, the rookie out of Florida, just full disclosure, it was a head scratcher for me. There were guys on that board at corner that I would have taken over Jason Marshall. And so, Zoff Frazier was one, Darian Strong was another. I think I would have been very happy if we would have got Zoff Frazier. I would feel a lot better about drafting that corner at that spot if it was Zoff Frazier. But they get Jason Marshall out of Florida, homegrown kid. And you know what? Again, we could all say, hey, man, where was he? He wasn't on my board, but we don't know how he's going to play. I just know that he's a Miami Dolphin. I'm going to root for him to do his best on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. Hopefully he surprises us and shocks the world. We got Storm Duck. We got Kader Kohu. But obviously, on paper, that's not a position that we're excited about. But I'll say, though, if they could go get an Asante Samuel or a Rasul Douglas, or make a trade for a corner, we're going to feel a little bit better about that position. Obviously, though, why are we talking about corner so much? I was talking about corner before the move of Jalen Ramsey, but Jalen Ramsey, the reason why now everybody's talking about the cornerback room is because of the trade eventually that will go down, more than likely by the end of May. We're coming up on that, or June 1st. Jalen Ramsey more than likely will be traded at that point in time. Now, the teams that are being mentioned with Jalen Ramsey, of course, is the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to Josh Wingate there. The Los Angeles Rams, who traded Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins for Hunter Long and a third-round pick. And then, of course, the Washington Commanders is another team that's been been thrown out there. I think Cap brought that up yesterday on FTSN on East 10th Street Boys. All the sense in the world. I think the reports from like Adam Schefter was saying that Miami is getting a lot more attention on the Jalen Ramsey front than they thought they were going to get, that there's a lot more teams interested than it's being reported, which is great news for the Dolphins, because that might be able to drive up the price a little bit, and drive up the price. I'm not talking about a first round pick. I mean, that's rich. That is super rich at this point in time. Not that Jalen Ramsey doesn't deserve it. He absolutely deserves it because it's Jalen freaking Ramsey. But at the same time, we got him for a third round pick in Hunter Long. So that's my ballpark. That's my ceiling. If Miami could get that, something like a third round pick and a player, or a third round pick and something, I'm happy with that. Now, if they on and get a fifth round pick, that's life. Now, what is the financial implications of a Jalen Ramsey deal post June 1st for Miami? What can Miami get? Well, if they were to make this move before June 1st, trading it before June 1st, they would get a dead cap hit of $14.5 million and only saving $7 million. That entire remaining prorated bonus assimilates into the 25 cap year, making that the heavier short-term cap. But it clears the cap. It gives you $7 million. But again, you're still eating that 14.5. But if you wait, which Miami is doing, it looks like at least post June 1st, the dead cap in 2025, because you would eat everything in before June 1st, you're eating the whole entire thing, 14.5. But if you wait post June 1st, you're only going to eat 4.8 million. And then you got to, and then a 9.7 the year after. But you're saving, Miami will save $16.7 million post June 1st once they trade Jalen Ramsey. And obviously that more than likely is the preferred route for the Dolphins. And I think for Dolphin fans, and with that money, $6.7 million, I think they've signed all their rookies at this point in time. I think the rookie deals are done. But what this does for the Dolphins is, they could go ahead and go get that corner that's available. Maybe the Asante saying maybe give them a couple more dollars, on the deal and get that deal done. And now you feel not too bad about that cornerback room. Or they could go ahead and address the depth in the offensive line and get a couple more guys back there and fix that up. So let's see here. Make sure I'm reading this right here. I miss nothing. But yeah, so the cornerback room is the biggest concern for me right now with the Dolphins. I think it's more of a concern than the wide receiver room if Miami had traded Tyreek Hill. I think the Dolphins are better suited to handle that deal than they are to lose a Jalen Ramsey. And not that Jalen Ramsey was really great last year. It was a tough year all around for the Dolphins, but Jalen Ramsey was not the Jalen Ramsey we've come to know. But still, losing him, the team is better with him than they are without him. And losing him is a huge hit for Miami. I think Miami is better suited to handle a Tyreek Hill loss than they are to a Jalen Ramsey loss, because I believe Jalen Waddle would step up in a Tyreek deal. I think Nick Westbrook from Tennessee that we signed from the Titans, I'm very excited about seeing him and what he can do for the Dolphins. Malik Washington, people have forgotten about him. And of course, Devon Achane, even though he's our running back and his goal is to rush for 1,000 yards and get over to 500 yards. I think that he could fit in that wide receiver 3 role perfectly. So Miami is better suited to handle that loss if they were to lose Tyreek, even though it looks like Tyreek will stay with the Dolphins. He has, got nothing but praise from the coaching staff, from the front office, since the whole shabacle postseason, and of course during the offseason with all the off the field crap. He's been getting nothing but praise from them. So I hope that come start of the regular season, we're getting the best version of Tyreek Hill, one with a good head on his shoulders, ready to go, ready to turn out and show out and to show exactly who we all know him to be, one of the best in the game right now. He was voted number one by his peers just the season before. At the start of the season, he was the number one player in the NFL based on the voting of his peers. So I hope that's exactly who he is when he gets back. Free agent corners who are available for Miami that they could bring in: DJ Reed. I brought up Asante Samuel from the Chargers, Rasul Douglas from Buffalo. These are guys that Miami could pick up. Veteran guys, former Pro Bowler, former Patriot, Stephon Gilmore. He's still on there. And I think Miami's smart. Not only are they smart waiting to go after these guys who are still available on the board right now, they're smart to do this right now because as they get closer to the season, those guys' numbers, the contract demands are going to drop. So Miami could say, hey, I'll give you a 1-year deal at this amount of money. Show out, hey, if you do great, we'll extend you, or eventually a team will like what they see and give you a bigger deal later on. It's a smart move by Miami. It's just that you'd hope that nobody, jumps the gun and starts throwing money out. Talking about the Miami Dolphins schedule, one thing that stands out to me, obviously, I think for most everybody, is the Miami Dolphins primetime schedule. That's what's crazy. We know how Miami has performed on primetime. It's not something, we all get excited because why wouldn't you get to see your team on primetime? If you're living anywhere other than Miami, Florida, you don't have to go pay for a ticket or go to a bar or go to a restaurant or go to an app and try to find them, or rely on Twitter or YouTube or whatever to find out what's going on with your game. They're on live TV. They're on ESPN, or now they're on NFL Network or Prime or wherever. They're everywhere. So you have an opportunity to watch your favorite team. The only problem with our favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, is they don't do well under the bright lights. It's rare and far in between, and Miami does well in that. But it's, to me, to see that many primetime games for the Miami Dolphins, that just tells you what the NFL thinks they have in Miami. And why not? I just talked about this earlier today on Fantasy Now Plus, cold brews and hot takes. Why Miami has so many primetime games. I think the NFL sees what Miami has. Miami has at least the ingredients for a fun to watch football team. I mean, they still got Tyreek Hill. They've got Jalen Wall. They got Tua Tagovailoa. They've got Devon Achane, Ollie Gordon, Jonnu Smith. They've got these guys. They seen what they did after that Miami, and they still have Mike McDaniel's head coach, in spite of what my brother Finstanza would say. Play calling. Miami could still be a fun offense and a fun team to watch on primetime. But our prayer is that they actually live up to that hype. Preseason, I'll tell you what, I'm actually happy it's not the same slate of teams. It always seems to be the same slate of teams: the Falcons, the Jags, the Bucks. We do have the Jags in week 3, but we got Chicago in week 1 of preseason at Chicago. Then we don't expect any starters to play that game, but I'm excited to watch it just because I get to see the rookies. I get to see the guys, Zach Wilson as QB2. We get to see that QB2 battle. Zach Wilson probably going to get the majority of the snaps in the first half. Quinn Ewers in the second half. Then you go to game, and we get to see how those guys play in that preseason game. So I'm really looking forward to watching that. And of course, week 2 against a team that is a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender, in the Detroit Lions at Detroit. That's probably when we're going to get to see our starters. Get to see the first time our Tua and Waddle and Achane and Hill and Zach Sealer and company. So I'm excited about watching that game. And again, finishing off in week 3, might get to see those guys a little bit more. But to get to wrap that up, that QB2 battle, get to see the rookies finish it off. I'm excited about this preseason because I really want to see those guys in the back. And then the regular season, Miami really, if you look at the schedule, especially the first half, it's favorable. Legitimately, it is. And I love that we got a week 12 bye. That's huge for the Dolphins. And, especially when you're kind of beat up and they just go to Spain and they face the Commanders, which is going to be a no joke football team. They're tired. You get a week 12 bye and you get to kind of heal up a little bit as you go in that final stretch of the season. Looking at, you got the Colts in week 1 is a game that I may be at. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's about 4.5 hours away from me. So I'd probably pick, to get my son and drive down there. You got the Patriots at home. Buffalo in Buffalo, which is early on in the season. But it's not like you have to deal with the weather. However, it is a primetime game, and that bites the dust. But then you got another primetime game against the Jets in Miami. Then you got Carolina, the Chargers at Cleveland, at Atlanta. That might be a game I go to. That's, again, another 4.5 hours the other way. You got Baltimore. That's a tough one. Buffalo, again, that's a tough one. The Commanders is tough. The Saints. The Jets in the Meadowlands, MetLife. You got Pittsburgh and Monday Night Football, Bengals, NBC, Buccaneers, and finish off with the Patriots. Oh man, it is a favorable schedule at the top half, but there are some games in there that could go either way for the Dolphins. And of course, I say again, full disclosure, I have Miami. Fish Tank and I both said at the early end, we'll see how Miami finishes out the offseason. But right now, I have it 9-8 for the Dolphins on the year currently. As it stands, 9-8. That's my. I had 11 wins last year. I'm at 9-8 right now. But we'll see. And of course, that all really goes down to the quarterback. What happens with Tua Tagovailoa? Can he stay healthy? And when he is healthy, how is he playing? Last year, played 11 games, which was, his average was 13 games. He dropped that to 11. He played the year before, he played every game of the season, which was great. Lost some weight, wanted to try to be more mobile, which is awesome. That's something you got to give Tua, no matter how you feel about him. Whether you think he's the franchise, whether you think he's not so great, whatever. The one thing you could always say, he puts the work in. The year he played the full season, before that, he gained weight. He started working on his jiu-jitsu, learning how to fall. He lasted the year, which was awesome. The only problem is it messed his mobility up, slowed him down a little bit. Now, or the year before that, a year after that, he loses the weight, becomes more mobile, but misses more games than he has in his career with playing only 11 games on the season. However, completed 72.9% of his throws, threw for 2,867 yards, threw 19 touchdowns, 7 INTs, had a passer rating of 101.4, averaging about 7.2 yards per throw, and was sacked 21 times for 154 yards. So, the accuracy is obviously still there. That's something that you never have to worry with Tua on. The thing is just health. I will say, though, decision-making was not so great last year. And it wasn't just a Tua problem. I know a lot of people, harp on the quarterback. It was an all-around team issue for the Dolphins. And that's why you would hope that everybody has their head on straight. And Tua, being Tua, again, you don't have to believe he's the guy or he's going to be, quote unquote, the savior for Miami. But you could believe in him and as a guy who's always going to give 110%, bust his ass to get better every season. And sometimes it doesn't equal winning on the field. It doesn't equal him staying healthy throughout the game. But we know we got a guy who puts the work in every day, in and out. And hopefully that could mean something for the Dolphins this year. Make sure here as we continue expectations, we've talked about, obviously Miami did sign a fourth quarterback, Brett Gabbert. I believe he's the brother of Blaine Gabbert, the bust. I hate using that word, but that's who he was. The Jaguars. Played for the Jaguars, but we got Brett Gabbert. And, I still see some people on social media asking why. Why are we signing another quarterback? Well, a camp body. Simple as that. It's a camp body. And then we waive William Bradley King, the linebacker, I think, to make room for him. We'll continue to see how Miami continue to moves. I expect a lot more moves post June 1st. And I'm excited about I'll tell you why I'm excited about this football season. Not because I think Miami's going to run the table and be something great or nothing like that. It's because I do have mid to low expectations. Miami can only go up from here. That's how I feel. If they somehow bottom out, it is what it is. If they answer the call, I mean, a lot of people had high expectations for them the last couple of years, and they bottom out. This year, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just a fan. I'm going to root for my team, hope for the best, but not expecting much. And I think that might roll in our favor. Maybe, but we'll see. But anywho, as we continue and get on going here, as we wrap up this quick 30-minute show, I'm just very excited. I'm excited not just for the Miami Dolphins. I'm excited for the channel, the network, as we start this new venture with FTSN Extra. If you're watching the show post live, hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications bell. Got a lot more stuff coming. Again, some of the personalities you've learned to love with Finstanza and Doll of Doll's Diaries. You got Russ Morgan and on deck on Sundays. You got Real Talk Wrestling with Josh Kimmel and Clutch and Chris. You got fantasy football. You got it all, really. And so I'm very excited about starting this up and getting this ball rolling. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like and subscribe, and of course you continue checking in on the OG channel. We'll have all our main stuff on there. Real Talk, Fins Talk Today. You got hot take, cold brews and hot takes, East 10th Street Boys, Studs and Suds. Pre-game and post-game will continue to be on there. We will have a Friday college football show coming up here on FTSN Extra. I'm very excited about getting that ball rolling. So yeah, don't forget to tune into that. Some homework here or some chores. We got later today for Dolphin fans. Do not forget to tune in to Finn's Faithful podcast. They got a big show going on there tonight. I believe tonight. Let's see. It's let me make sure I get on here so I get George's stuff in. I do want to get that. He will have Jason Sarney, Finn Sammy on there. Sammy at Finn's TV, friend of the channel, awesome dude. Honorary Titan on there as well. They're going to be talking about the Jalen Ramsey stuff, talking about some of the drama going on social media between Dolphins beat writers and content creators for whatever freaking reason that's going on, which is so freaking ridiculous. Can't we all just get along, really? Like, honest to God, I don't understand what the deal with that is. We have that luxury to do this. I really love doing this, but I will say I have no beef at all with any of the Dolphins media or anything like that. A lot of those guys I grew up listening to, and and I disagree with them and agree with them and whatever the hell. But like the Omar Kellys of the world, the Barry Jacksons, the Poperts, and hopefully, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, so on and so forth, the Big O's and whatever the world, and all those guys, grew up listening to those guys. I'd listen to them on WQAM, listen to them on other stuff, read their stuff. I didn't always agree with them. I did this, I'll tell you what, man, a lot of those guys gave me the confidence to build up my own opinions of the Dolphins. And even though it was Ralph who raised me a Dolphin fan and instilled that in me, much more than that, of course, as well, but also was the one who pushed me to start doing this and to do the network, or to be a content creator and to talk Dolphins, because we talk all the time on the phone, and he was like, man, you got to do this. You got to be, I watch these other guys, man, and you're right there with them. You should. And he gave me that confidence to do that. He gave me that inspiration to do that. And then when I did the network, he's my biggest supporter. I don't use that in past tense. He is my biggest supporter. My mother as well, of course, Tati. But it was the beat writers. It was the Omar Kellys of the world, and the Shads and the Dan Lepitards and Big O's and whatever, that gave me the knowledge and the confidence to build up those opinions and to do this. So I owe that to them as well. So, and I think people who are doing this right now, the content creators who are having fun going at these guys, should remember that, these are the guys that we relied upon as we grew up and became Dolphin fans and whatever, to get this information. And no, I don't always agree with them. A lot of times I disagree with them. But I do remember that these were the guys that did this, and I respect that. So this my 2 cents. Let's just all get along. We don't all have to get angry with each other or start spewing hate and all that. We got enough hate in this freaking toxic world. Let's get along, dude. We all love the team. We love sports. We love talking sports. I mean, I think discourse in regards of like disagreeing with each other, that's healthy. You need that. If you're always agreeing with each other, that's boring. You know what I mean? I would love to be able to talk football, Dolphins or whatever, with an Omar Kelly or a Reason or whomever. I'd love to do that. Agree or disagree. I'd love to disagree with them and have a good time and chit chat and whatever the hell and have some fun. My 2 cents. Trust me, I love disagreeing. I disagree with Finstanza all the time. That's post game. We have a blast doing it. So just love doing that. And we love nothing more than to disagree with each other. It's very rare we agree with each other. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. There's no one else here, just me, but that's okay. Talking Dolphins with Bobby Finstock. I'll try to do this every once in a while. But I'm excited. We should have our next show coming up soon, whether that's Doll's Diaries or Real Talk Wrestling. Over time, get those guys rolling on here as well. Until then, like and subscribe. And most importantly, Dolphin fans, as always, fins up. Appreciate it.